I started college at a young age because I was always curious and eager to learn new things. I skipped several grades in school because I found the classes too easy and boring. I wanted to challenge myself and explore topics that interested me more deeply. When I was 12 years old, I applied to a college that had a program for gifted students. I was accepted and enrolled as a full-time student. I chose to major in computer science because I loved coding and creating software. I also took courses in math, physics, psychology, and philosophy. I was motivated to do well in college because I wanted to prove myself and make a positive impact on the world. I had a lot of goals and dreams that I wanted to achieve. I also wanted to make my parents proud and show them that their support and encouragement paid off. I graduated from college at 15 with a bachelor's degree in computer science and a minor in math. I was the youngest graduate in the history of the college. I felt proud of myself but also nervous about what the future would bring. One of the biggest challenges I faced as a young college student was feeling like I didn't belong. I was always the youngest in my classes, and sometimes I felt intimidated by my older peers and professors. I wondered if I was smart enough, mature enough, or experienced enough to succeed in college. Another challenge was balancing my academic and personal life. I had to study a lot to keep up with the coursework, but I also wanted to have fun and make friends. Sometimes I felt lonely and isolated, especially when I saw other students hanging out and having a good time. How did I overcome these challenges? Well, first of all, I realized that imposter syndrome is very common and normal. Many people struggle with feeling inadequate or fraudulent, even if they are very talented and accomplished. I learned to accept myself and my achievements, and to stop comparing myself to others. Secondly, I found ways to connect with people who shared my interests and passions. I joined some clubs and extracurricular activities that matched my hobbies and goals. I also reached out to some mentors and role models who gave me advice and support. I discovered that there were many people who respected me and cared about me, regardless of my age. Lastly, I learned to manage my time and prioritize my tasks. I set realistic goals and deadlines for myself, and I rewarded myself for completing them. I also made sure to take breaks and have fun once in a while. I found a healthy balance between work and play that helped me enjoy my college experience. These are some of the challenges I faced as a young college student and how I overcame them. It was not easy, but it was worth it. I hope this video inspires you to pursue your dreams and overcome your own challenges. I developed imposter syndrome when I was in college. Imposter syndrome is a psychological condition that is characterized by persistent doubt concerning one's abilities or accomplishments accompanied by the fear of being exposed as a fraud despite evidence of one's ongoing success. I felt like I didn't belong in college, that I was not smart enough or talented enough to be there. I constantly compared myself to others and felt inferior. I was afraid that my professors and classmates would find out that I was a fraud and that I didn't deserve to be there. Some of the symptoms that I experienced were anxiety and stress. I was always worried about failing or making mistakes. I felt like I had to work harder than everyone else to prove myself. I had trouble sleeping and relaxing. Perfectionism. I set unrealistic standards for myself and was never satisfied with my work. I would obsess over every detail and redo things over and over again. I would avoid asking for help or feedback because I thought it would reveal my incompetence. Self-sabotage. I would procrastinate, miss deadlines, or avoid taking on new challenges because I feared failure or rejection. I would downplay or dismiss my achievements and attribute them to luck, timing, or effort that I couldn't sustain. Low self-esteem and confidence. I felt unworthy of praise, recognition, or opportunities. I would shy away from speaking up, sharing my ideas, or taking credit for my work. I would feel guilty or ashamed of my success and worry that I would lose it at any moment. These symptoms affected not only my academic performance but also my mental health and well-being. They made me feel unhappy, isolated, and exhausted. They prevented me from enjoying my college experience and pursuing my goals. Imposter syndrome is a psychological phenomenon that involves feeling like a fraud, despite having evidence of your achievements and abilities. It can affect anyone, but it is especially common among high achievers and people who face pressure or expectations from others. In this section, I will share with you some of the strategies that I used to cope with imposter syndrome and how they helped me overcome it. One of the strategies that I used was to acknowledge my feelings and challenge my negative thoughts. Whenever I felt like I didn't belong or I wasn't good enough, I would try to identify the source of those feelings and question their validity. For example, if I felt like I didn't deserve to graduate from college at 15, I would ask myself, what evidence do I have to support this belief? How realistic is this expectation? What would I say to a friend who felt this way? By doing this, I was able to recognize that my feelings were not facts and that they were influenced by unrealistic standards and self-doubt. Another strategy that I used was to seek feedback and support from others. Sometimes, we are our own worst critics and we don't see ourselves clearly. That's why it's important to talk to people who can give us honest and constructive feedback and who can remind us of our strengths and achievements. For example, I would talk to my professors, mentors, friends, and family members who knew me well and who could help me see my value and potential. They would also encourage me to celebrate my successes and appreciate my efforts, instead of focusing on my flaws and failures. A third strategy that I used was to embrace learning and growth. Imposter syndrome can make us feel like we have to know everything and be perfect at everything, which is impossible and exhausting. Instead of seeing mistakes as proof of our incompetence, we can see them as opportunities to learn and improve. Instead of comparing ourselves to others who seem more successful or smarter than us, we can focus on our own progress and goals. Instead of avoiding challenges or risks that might expose our weaknesses, we can embrace them as chances to grow and expand our comfort zone. These are some of the strategies that help me cope with imposter syndrome and overcome it. By applying these strategies, I was able to change my mindset from feeling like a fraud to feeling like a confident and capable person. I hope that these strategies can help you too if you ever struggle with imposter syndrome. Now that I have graduated from college at 15, I plan to use my education and skills in the future to pursue my passions and make a positive impact in the world. I want to explore different fields and opportunities that interest me and challenge me to grow as a person. I also want to share my knowledge and experience with others who may benefit from it. One of the things that I learned from overcoming imposter syndrome is that it is important to be confident in yourself and your abilities, but also humble and open to feedback. You don't have to know everything or be perfect to succeed. You just have to be willing to learn and improve. Imposter syndrome can make you feel like you don't belong or you don't deserve your achievements, but that is not true. You have worked hard and earned your place. My advice for others who may feel like imposters is to recognize and celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how big or small. Don't compare yourself to others or put yourself down. Instead, focus on your strengths and goals. Seek support from people who care about you and encourage you. And most importantly, be kind to yourself and remember that you are not alone. Many people struggle with imposter syndrome at some point in their lives, but they can overcome it with the right mindset and attitude.